We are back, ladies and gentlemen. MLW Confusion. As I said at the top of the show, got a special guest in the studio today. He's returning after nearly 2 years. Time flies when we're having fun and conquering the world. I have SCW Pro Champion, leader of the Chosen, our chosen champion even, Eric Eznite. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I can't complain, or at least not complain too terribly much. Not that it'll do any good anyway, stupid allergies. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, we're here today. We're grinding it out. It's been about 2 years, and we've both done a lot of stuff since you've been on the show. Like out, as I said,
I
conquering
agree.
the world. You were one of like the first of me branching out. So like
Yeah,
first
I
interviews
remember
that
that.
I've done. And at that point, you had just lost the SCW Pro QC Cup,
hmm
which you got to get that back. You got that back for a
I
bit.
lost to Matt Cage. I
Yeah,
remember
Matt
that.
Cage. Yeah, because that was like an open challenge situation,
He was
if I
too
remember
scared to come
correctly.
back and face me. That's
Right.
what it came down to.
They got that one match, and then he was done. Didn't want no more of that. And then you end up indirectly spoilering us. The Chosen now full on group brought Malik Champion back in the fold. Augustus Draven is now in the mix. Evangeline has been here and there as well, and then most notably, Shane Hollister is
Right.
in the group now, and making Hollister, in my opinion, the most interesting he's been in like the last 5 years. Oops, said that part aloud. Anywho, but like we'll try to take things slow and go back a bit for that. So just kind of like going with the evolution of the Chosen. So how did that kind of come along, and like how does it feel to kind of like go from being just kind of a tandem, because you've always been kind of like, prior to now the group expanding to what it was, variations of the Prodigal Sons and the Chosen have always kind of been a duo.
hmm
So I guess we'll start with like the genesis of like, so how did it come to be for you to kind of get the whole group together, and then from there, like how does it just feel to work within the confines of the group rather than just a tag team?
Well, this has always been my goal. All this. I've always, you know, wanted that belt. When I moved here, that was what I moved here for, to be the SCW Pro Champion. I moved here to be a champion. I moved here to reach the top, to try and be the best. And then when I reach that, try and reach further and further. You can't do it by yourself. I knew that from the very beginning. And, you know, I talk about this prophecy a lot, but we see the prophecy fulfilled. I've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. But now we see it. But I've been saying these things. I've been, part of the mission, the Great Commission of Eric Eznite as the 13th disciple, is to go out and make disciples of all nations. I'm always going to try and expand the chosen. I would like to make everyone join me. That's my goal. The prophecy in its first rendition has been fulfilled. I reached the top, I won the championship, but now what do I do with the championship? Now what I have to do, I have to save others. I've saved Shane Hollister. I've saved Malik Champion. I've saved Augustus Draven. I've saved Garat. I've saved Evangeline. Come on. Nobody else can say that they've done that. And I know I'm the champion, but they're chosen as well. Just as I have been chosen, they have been chosen by me. The group growing is a natural step in the evolution of Eric Asnight, but I can hold my own. I love a singles match. Um, I believe, I was supposed to have a singles match this weekend at Wake Brewing, but Shane Hollister unfortunately did suffer a bit of a shoulder injury, so I had to step in with Malik. I was going to have my first title defense this weekend, but I actually have that coming up this week with Crotch. But to answer your question, um, how has that been seeing the group grow? It's been amazing. It's been what I've pictured and what I've imagined. It's cool whenever, like, even like these shirts behind me. When you think of something and then you draw it and then you have make this plan of it and then it comes back how you wanted it to look and it's how you pictured it in your head. That's always amazing. That's always great. I'm very proud of what I've been able to accomplish by myself with the group, and everything in between.
And kind of focusing on the Shane Hollister aspect of it, I believe, if I remember correctly, the last time you were on, you talked about how I believe you said your favorite match was with Hollister
It
and
was,
Iowa City.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so to kind of like piggyback off that, since then you've had a full on feud with him, and then just it's
Yeah.
been about a month now. Like he's finally, embraced your teachings and come along with that. So, like, as you know, now as this champion, how does it feel to have a guy that you've worked this closely with now coming into the fold and being able to kind of impart his wisdom of 20 years, like as a member of the group?
I have to say, Shane Hollister has had an impact on my career, certainly in SCW, outside of SCW, um, in general. I do learn a lot from him. Um, while we had prior to what we have now, we had fundamental philosophical differences. We had differences in our beliefs. We had differences in how we like to accomplish things. We had differences in, what our goals were prior to him now seeing things how I see things. You know, we have differences. However, although I have been blessed with knowledge beyond my years by someone above, I have learned a lot from Shane Hollister. I will give him that. I have learned a lot from this man who wrestled with Seth Rollins at the start, with Merrick Brave, and a lot of the moves Shane Hollister does, someone else on TV does now. Um, Shane Hollister is very much an innovator in the Midwest. Very intelligent, knowledgeable. He's been doing this forever, everywhere. You know, it's the little details that I'll get from him. It's cool little combos that we'll try out as a team. Um, Whenever we're against each other, he brings the best out in me. I believe he brought out the best in me in Iowa City. Wasn't enough those few years ago, but every time I got in there with him, I learned a little bit more. I learned, how he moved. I upped my game every time I wrestled him, and that's how I was eventually able to beat him once, twice, three times. And now he's with me. But when it comes to things I've learned from him, I've also learned something people probably don't pick up on. I've gotten a lot of feedback lately about Eric. You know, your expressions, your the faces you make, like they're just so animated. They're so well received. They're so they create a reaction from the crowd. Just my facial expressions. I got that from Suge. I can't deny that. I watched Suge wrestle and I watched how he worked, and I saw how he could uh, you know control the crowd with his face. I paid a lot of attention to that. I learned that from Suge, and I owe that to him. I owe a lot of what I've learned in the wrestling business here in the Midwest to Suge Shane Hollister and SCW Pro and AAW Pro. We've been on trips together. We've broken down in cars together. We've gotten cars stolen together. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Me and Suge Shane Hollister have been through a lot together. Uh, I do like that Suge Shane Hollister, especially now that he's had his epiphany.
Well, first of all, we'll say iron sharpens iron. Like you're not going to get better unless you work with someone as
That's
good,
right.
if not better than yourself. And then two, like I will also make the joke that Suge probably owes you for that trip to the ER. Time it means nothing now, but like one of the more gnarly injuries I've seen, like live and in person, which I should have warned, but like you've covered it elsewhere. Cough, card subject to change.
Yeah,
But should done mangled up your ear
you
in
did.
that no DQ. Like
I'm just a great person for forgiving him for that and letting him
turn the
be
other
in my
cheek.
group. Yes,
That-
exactly. It takes a very humble person to be able to do that, but I'm doing it.
but just focusing on on like that, like specifically that incident, just briefly,
Okay.
of just because like I know you said it looked worse than what it was, but like
Okay, yeah.
like what goes like through your mind like when something like that happens in the ring? Like you took for those of you who missed the missed car subject to change and have not seen this,
Heartbreak.
but Hollister hit Eric like right in the ear with the kendo stick and just like it was gnarly seeing that live. Like
Yeah.
but like what goes through your mind like as like something like that
All right.
happens in the ring?
Uh, All right, man. So I'll tell you kind of what I'm thinking in the moment. Yeah, it was crazy. So I tried to get my hand up. I tried, and if you watch the video, I've played it so many times, rewatching it, slow motion, full speed. I want to tell you, I missed by this much getting my hand up. Like I was here, and then the stick like made it through, like barely. So I was trying to protect myself. I did not. I did have to go to the ER. Funny backstory to that. That was my girlfriend. The first match she's ever watched.
Oh no.
So, what a traumatic experience to pop her cherry for indie wrestling. And of course, it was crazy. You know, she's supposed to leave early the next day, but we spent the night in the ER. She ended up having to stay with me a little bit longer. So I did win in that scenario.
Oh
And I did win the match. Let's not forget that.
yeah.
I
He
left.
fought through it.
I left bloody, but I finished that match. Um, oh my god, man! Whenever that hit me in the head, people are like, "Oh my god, did it hurt? Did it hurt?" It was the sound for me, because everyone in
Mm.
that room said it was loud as hell. I could tell you, it was 20 times louder for me, because it echoed in the room, but it hit me right on the ear. So that like echoed in my brain. That was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. The loudest thing I've ever heard. And I just remember like it hitting me and I'm just like, oh, I did not get my hand up fast enough. That was what I was like, oh, and I remember just falling and I was like, that really hit me. Like that was loud. That really hit me. And I'm laying there and I'm like, let me just check my ear. Like it hit me in the head. You know, it hit me in the ear, but it hit me in the head. So I had too many concussions to count at this point. I don't know if this maybe was a lower grade concussion, potentially. But I go to the ground. I'm a little bit out of it. I didn't knock out or anything, but I go to the ground. I'm like, wow, that was loud. And I'm like, let me just kind of check my ear. I'm still on the ground, and I like go like this. And everyone, I see everyone's like this in the crowd. I'm laying on the ground. I see everyone like this, looking at me. And I'm like, oh, damn it. You know, what the fuck did I do? So then I look directly at the camera girl, and she's like looking at me, and I'm like, she saw my ear apparently before I did, and she's like, and I'm like, oh my god, this is bad. So I look at my hand, it's covered in blood. I don't remember in that moment if I said oh shit or not. Um, it's kind of a funny thing, you know, kind of like because yeah, I shouldn't be saying that, but I think I might have said that just out of reaction. And then I ended up finishing the match. I pinned the Shug 1, 2, 3. Um, but I just remember the sound. The sound was crazy, and I really it wasn't. I wrestle every week. We're pretty. I don't know. I don't want to say we don't feel pain, but we have a pretty high pain tolerance. I would say that wasn't really an issue. It was more. I went to the ER to get it cleaned. It looked pretty gnarly. It's a good thing it did get cleaned. That's a kendo stick. It's been in the wrestling ring, bacteria all over it. Don't want to play around with that.
Oh, you rolled around on the mat too, so like
Yeah,
that's probably a bigger concern than the
yeah,
kendo
and
stick.
I got it cleaned and I got antibiotics, and it doesn't really even look like it ever happened. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
completely honest with you. I don't have any,
yeah.
crazy cauliflower ear or anything. I just have like a little bitty line. They glued it back together, and it matched up pretty well. It was a crazy experience. Not looking to do that anytime soon again. Um, yeah, thank you, Shug, for the earpiece.
Yeah, and I think I apologize if you've had like worse actual injuries in the ring. But it's one of those things is like, oh, people,
Very visual.
yeah, you
Color.
don't normally get like a good visual injury like that
Yeah.
terribly often. That's not,
When it's a visual, it's blood on the head. Like that's it
yeah.
can it can be scary. I remember when I had celebrated and won. Like I'm the people don't like me. I'm aware of that. Usually people would boo the hell out of me, but I feel like a lot of people were like concerned, and it was there was some people booing me, but a lot of people were just silent that night because they were like, oh my god, like I hope he's okay.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of like goes into that weird territory where it's the baby face that's supposed to overcome all odds. The bad guys
True,
kind of supposed
true.
to just is just
Well,
supposed to
I
be
am
like,
the baby face. What
why?
do you
Oh
mean?
yeah,
That's
right.
what are you
Well, not
talking
according to
about?
the crowd.
Ah,
I may ride the chosen's coattails. Not gonna lie about that. However, I am not deaf to the crowd. The reaction that you normally elicit coming to the ring and during the matches.
well, let's just say bluegrass is a special type of sinner.
There you go. I mean, not everyone is cool. Like, and so this is total sidebar, but like one of my favorite like entrances like I've watched you do was Wake Brewing. It was last year because it was like 150 degrees outside, and I
Okay.
watched like you were making
Oh,
your
was it me
entrance.
versus JT Energy for the
I
for the
title,
heavyweight
yeah,
championship?
but I just remember your entrance, and I just remember this child getting up and going to clap your hand, and you get down to his level, which was brilliant. Number one, but you go like, "I'm sorry, buddy, I can't touch a sinner." And like so like usually like okay like that's good work, but like the thing that popped me the most was the kid like no sold it. He just like no means no and sat right back down. Like there was no tears, no like, oh, I didn't get my way,
There
just
was
like.
there was tears in behind the mask. I promise.
But I just thought that was hilarious. I just thought that was hilarious. Is like, yep, no means no, and just
I'm
sat
definitely
right
not a
down.
let me give you a high five, let me knuckle bump you type of
Yeah,
wrestler. It's not me.
no.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, but I just thought that like it wouldn't have been near as funny and memorable to me if the kid was just like, oh, okay, he said no and just sat down.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was just so visual because like if you didn't say oh shit, I totally did. Like I first when I saw the hit, like I'm like, oh no, that one got him right in the head, man.
Yeah.
Like that's not where you hit a dude in the head. Like it's the hard
No, that
part.
was in
As
the
someone
head.
who for someone who's not a wrestler, I have taken way too many headshots myself. And like no, the hard part for those of you who can't won't be seeing this is me rubbing the side ridge of my skull. Though the front part is not too shabby and absorbing blows either, which is usually where you get hit for a kendo stick in most situations. And I like saw that I'm like, dude, that's not cool. And then like you come up I see the blood start coming and like oh no.
Yeah.
That definitely was not a spot that was supposed to happen, but
Stuff like that happens.
and it makes for a great visual, especially since you were fine at the end of it, so it can be one of your iconic photographs. I mean, it was
Oh yeah.
look what it did for Becky Lynch. Had her nose
Dude,
broken and was
literally
fist in the
exactly.
air, and
Exactly. I remember when I first started wrestling, I got this like little baby cut on my lip whenever I was wrestling for some little independent promotion. And I was like, I just can't wait till I get pictures because I probably look like Becky Lynch. I probably look like a badass. You can barely see it. It was not what I wanted it to be. But I tell you what, I got what I wanted all those years later. Maybe not how I wanted to get it, but I got it. I got my
There we
cool
go.
badass bloody picture.
Well, and I was to say maybe you'll hopefully get more, but like no, that's really not something we should be striving for.
I
Is
don't know.
bloody
I could
pictures.
keep that at a minimum.
Yeah, yeah. Which would again, like, it was so jarring just because of like everything about it, and like for the most part, SCW is a really blood
It's family
free. It's
friendly
friendly,
show.
friendly,
Yeah.
and so like
Yeah.
even when things are kind of amped up, you don't always get blood out of the deal. Like maybe you'll get like see
I,
like the elbow
you
rug
barely
burn
ever
things.
see blood in SCW.
Yeah, so
That's not our main goal.
no,
But
and so
like we
that
said,
makes it stands out more.
Yep.
Like before we kind of derailed things like off that, but like piggyback the working with Suge, and then
Yes, sir.
the receipt he ended up giving you, except it's not a receipt if he did it first and wasn't on purpose, but
Trust
still.
me. If I haven't got my receipt back, I will.
Well, I mean, we can make the joke is like before his epiphany, he was forced to serve you under threat of having his legacy erased. So it might have evened
But I
out.
beat him for that though. That doesn't really
Yeah,
count as a receipt, you know?
yeah. Blow to the ego. Nothing hurts worse than the ego.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm just grasping at straws to win this fake argument that we're having. Um, but kind of like so going on from that, so we've put over the continued ascent, and now fulfilling the prophecy. Like, is this your first like major like top
It's
singles
my first
title?
heavyweight championship.
Like, how big is that for? Well, one, how big is that for you just in general? And then two, like how big is it for it to be SCW, where you've really cut your teeth and it's been your home base the last handful of years? I mean, coming out of training.
It is my home base, 100%. This is my home promotion. This is where I have become Eric Eznite. This is where I have um, been given that opportunity to become Eric Eznite. I have roots here. I was actually born here in Davenport, Iowa. Um, I grew up in Texas, but I was born here in Davenport. So this place already has a special place in my heart, and then being able to come here for Black and Brave, and then eventually move here, and um, I mean honestly, do a lot of the things that I've set out to do. Feels great. I feel proud of myself. Am I done? Have I stopped? Is this as high as I want to go? No, not at all. This is very much um, a realization of the prophecy in a way that I've been saying I'm chosen, I'm the chosen champion, I'm destined, for this, I'm predestined for it. Well, now we see it that it is that way, and but the prophecy, the full complete prophecy, is me making it to the WWE. Me signing, even me just signing a contract um, for a wrestling company. That's the prophecy, because for real, the prophecy is just my own prophecy that I made myself when I was 6 years old, that I would be a wrestler, and that I would, it would be my job. I'd be doing my dream. That's the prophecy, you know. Uh, but I kind of tie it in with the religious aspect, and I've, in this wrestling landscape, God gave me the prophecy that I've been chosen to be this great champion and be the best and make it to the WWE and spread his message. That's the prophecy. But for shoot, the prophecy is just me pursuing my goals and reaching my goals. That's what the prophecy is. Um, so me saying it over and over again is cool. I love that, but actually doing it, and actually, you know, being seen as the best that Black and Brave has to offer, and being seen in Merrick's eyes as someone he trusts, and someone that can carry his company, and be the top guy there. I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. I worked very hard for it. That's all I've been hustling on and all I've been working towards ever since I moved here. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm very proud. I'm very thankful. It's cool to I even went into class a couple weeks ago to work out while they were running a class with new students, and it was just cool. I hadn't been in that environment in a long time. Um, because I see Merrick and Crotch, frequently at the wrestling shows, but I forget, these are my coaches, and that used to be me, them teaching me in class, and now, Merrick, you know, trusts me with the heavyweight championship and trusts me to wrestle Crotch, my other coach, this Friday. And yes, I've already wrestled Crotch, but I definitely feel very confident right now, and I feel um, still that the sky is the limit, and still that I want to wrestle as many places as I can. And I'm really only able to do that because of Black and Brave and because of SCW, because I owe my training to them. I owe my knowledge of the business to them. Um, and I owe a chance to them. Like, I don't know who would have really given me a chance to do this wild character that's offensive and new and different and sounds probably silly before you see it actually in person. Now there are promotions that won't book me, because they haven't seen it like FCW has given me the chance to show and visualize everybody. And it is a very cool opportunity I've been given. So thank you, SCW. Thank you, Black and Brave. Thank you, Seth, Rollins, Colby. Thank you, Merrick. And thank you, Crotch. You guys have made a very big impact on my career. Eric Eznite is not Eric Eznite without you guys. So thank you.
Oh, and as you've said it yourself, they obviously see something in you. I mean, one, but like I tell all the talent, like anyone can say what they want about belts, but like that means the company sees something in you to be
Right.
kind of their face to be the world champion.
Yeah.
But like by proxy of this, like you've also, even before winning the title, like they've kind of given you some media, local media opportunities that like some of the other folks, because you've done what two appearances on Paula Sands.
Just one
Just
appearance,
one?
but little known factor about that. That was actually my thing. That was my booking. I had already talked to Paula Sands about my fitness and coaching business at the time. Um, I had created that opportunity for myself, and she asked me to come back on for to talk about my wrestling career. And my immediate, when she asked me to come on, I'm like, oh, what can I bring my coach on? Like, I got to, give my flowers out. And Black and Brave, it's Merrick told me they haven't been on Paula Sands, and I was like, Merrick, I have this opportunity. Can you do it with me? And he was like, yeah. So um, that was actually my thing that I had set up for myself, and I brought Black and Brave and SCW into that. Me myself actually, but I did have that thing where I took over some social media accounts. That was pretty cool. And you're right, Merrick has trusted me for a while. I've had Merrick's trust for a while, and I've been one of Merrick's top guys for a little while. Merrick's he's my coach, but I'd say he's a friend. So he trusts me.
Yeah. And it shows in the product, because not everyone gets to feud with the local legends like so quickly within everything. Like we've covered your full cycle with Merrick, and now you've had your run-ins with Crush, and now you're going to defend the title against him as well.
Yep.
And just kind of piggyback off that real quick too, like how does that feel, like as wrestling one of your trainers now you're the champion, and now you've got a title and that they're challenging you for?
It's cool. It's a I when I first was in SCW, I think Johnny Wisdom was the champion when I first got here. I think Dion Roosman has been the champion since I've been in the fold. Connor Braxton, JT Energy, and Dustin Mosley. But the last time that there was kind of a champion, I don't even want to say similar to me. I feel like I'm very new and different. But the last time, I basically, what was the question again? I've got off topic.
Oh, what's it like being able to work with, say, one of your trainers now as champion compared to being kind of just an up and coming guy in the company?
So I remember when I first got here, Braxton. I just remember Braxton, kind of being that top guy here, and I just remember him being comfortable with it, and I just he was one of those guys that I watched and tried to look at, the details of how he worked, things of that manner. But he was basically kind of in the spot I wanted to be in, to be honest. Um, and I could tell he had the full trust of Merrick. He was the top guy. He was in the feuds with all the top guys, the names. Um, so it's interesting. It's very interesting because I've been wanting that position, that trust, that ability, that opportunity, and now I've got it. So I'm very much in a spot right now in a lot of different areas of my life and professional career where I've been working for something and I've been wanting something for a while, and now I'm there. So now it's a matter of, can I, you know, can I handle the pressure? Can I step up to the plate? And I believe I can, and I believe I'm showing that I can. I have no doubt in that, but it's just kind of showing everyone else around me, um, what Eric Eznite looks like as the top guy, what Eric Eznite looks like as the champion. Um, if he's truly what they believe to be the best, what's his best? Let's see what he's got. That's kind of how I view it. Um, this is my opportunity to really show not my full potential, but everything I've learned so far, and um, basically prove what they think. Basically prove, that I am worth that championship. Prove that I'm the best. That's how I look at it. It's cool. Like I said, Crotch trained me, so it's a very unique, cool, interesting opportunity that I'm looking forward to.
We're just going to assume you're going to be forever champion at this point, though.
Eternal.
Who do you want to defend? Like who are you most looking forward to like step up to you and challenge you for the championship? Say besides Crotch, like who's a guy that you hope is maybe next in line, or just kind of fantasy book dream match kind of
Okay.
thing.
Um, I can I can definitely think of a couple people. I know Devil Dog's gonna want a rematch eventually. And we have some good matches together. That's just kind of a guarantee. But as far as people that right now may not look like, not viable, but right now it doesn't look like they're on the horizon for me. Right now it doesn't look like that's gonna happen anytime soon. But it's very much something that could happen. Um, I do want to get in there with Dion one on one. And honestly, he won the belt all those years ago and never lost it. So if I'm the one to give him that opportunity again and snatch it from him and beat him, that's fine. But I'd love to get in there with Dion. I have good matches with him. Um, I want to wrestle Manders again. I wrestled him once, um, at the Beer Stube a couple years back. I learned a lot in that match from Manders, and he's kind of one of those guys here, one of those graduates, similar to Braxton. I've been watching him for a while, a long time. I learned a lot from Manders, keeping up with him on social media. Um, everything he does, I'm watching it and I'm learning from him. He's a role model as a Black and Brave graduate. He's a former SCW champion. I respect his career and his resume. He brings the best out of me, or he did in that one match. He got the best of me in that match. I don't think he'd get the best of me if he fought me again. So I'd love to wrestle Manders, and then I mean it's inevitable. I want to wrestle Malik again. Um, we always have a good time. It's my best friend. I don't know how we get there. I really don't want that anytime soon because I need him to be with me and help me keep the belt. So that's on the back burner. But eventually, one day, I'm sure I'll wrestle him again. These are all realistic people I could face, though. I'm not gonna go like, I want to wrestle Seth Rollins tomorrow. Like, even though I do want to wrestle him, and I could say I wrestled my coach, it's gonna have to be somewhere else. And I want to get that WWE contract and everything, but I wanted to give you some answers that could actually happen, like within a couple months or within a year or so, within my title reign. So Manders, Dion Roosman, Malik Champion. Those would be my top three people I'd want to face, but I'll defend my belt against anyone.
That's a great list of folk, and I'm just going to throw out there. Do you know how like I will be the loudest person in whatever venue we happen to be in when
Yeah.
you beat Manders? Like,
Hell yeah. Hell
um,
yeah.
um, but kind of moving on from SCW, I think we've kind of covered a lot
Sure.
within the last 2 years of SCW, but you've been all over the Midwest since then as well. You've been
Yeah.
Iron Spirit Pro in Bloomington, Midwest All Stars, and I know, I mean, time runs together, so you may not have done this recently, but Midwest All Stars,
Yep.
3XW, etc.
Yep.
And I warned you I was going to bring it up, but just because I'm more interested in kind of like how the setup is, just because of how like where they run and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah.
But Destination Six Wrestling in Macomb,
Yeah.
Illinois, like what's like for those of you not that don't pay attention to them either, they run out of a church, a former church. Kind of like the general like how does that feel to kind of like run the character you're chosen, and now you are wrestling in a church.
Well, there they see me as who I really am. They see me as the hero. So because that's my environment. Um, I did wrestle for them last month. I'm going to be wrestling there this Saturday. I wrestled against Tommy Davis last month. I was just about to hit my signature move, the Heaven's Gate. You've seen it. Um, and he low blowed me right in front of the ref. So I won the match, not how I wanted to. He cheated, beat me down post match because he knew I was about to beat him. So that's the setup for our Gates of Hell match coming up this Saturday at Destination 6 in Macomb, Illinois. Every match will be inside the cage. Um, so before I take the sinner, Tommy Davis, to Heaven's Gate, first I have to take him to the Gates of Hell this Saturday in Macomb, Illinois. It is a different environment to SCW. I will go ahead and tell you it's not a family friendly environment. Um, Either way, I will be walking out with the win this Saturday in Macomb, Illinois at Destination 6 Wrestling, where I will return.
Um, and uh, and a couple like interesting parts of it. So they use a six-sided ring. Like,
Yes.
how's that? To I know a lot of people don't like wrestling in the six-sided ring. Like, what are your thoughts on it? And have you worked a six-sided
Uh,
ring anywhere else?
I have never wrestled in a six-sided ring other than there, so that was my first time wrestling in a six-sided ring. Wasn't my first time wrestling in a church though. I've done that a couple times actually. Not surprising, probably. Um, it was interesting because when you train to wrestle in a square. You wrestle in a regular ring. And a lot of people think, oh, you just get in there and wrestling's just easy and you just flip around and just run the ropes and everything's just fun. No, not necessarily. Actually, you will get bruises on your back from running the ropes because the ropes have to be tight for you to be able to spring off. So there's a certain way you got to run the ropes. There's a certain step pattern you got to run the ropes. Uh, so it's different. It's thrown off a little bit whenever it's you go from 4 to like a long 6. So you have a little bit more room to run. You just gotta kind of, just kind of gotta space yourself a little bit differently. It was fun. It was interesting. There's people that say it's a little bit stiffer. It's a little bit of a harder ring mat. It's a little bit harder wood to bump on. And I would agree. It's a little bit stiffer to bump on. So that might be why people don't like doing that. Because I don't know. I haven't seen how this 6-sided ring is constructed. I've only ever set up a 4-sided ring, but it's just boards, laid across um, a frame, but it's square, so it makes sense. So I don't know how you would. I don't know how the boards lay for a 6-sided ring. So I don't know if maybe there's less give in the middle because it's constructed differently. Because if it's just boards, the middle's gonna have more give. That's why you like to bump and land in the middle versus the outsides of the ring. Um, 6-sided ring, it's cool. It's different. I'm gonna do it again this Saturday. I would do it again somewhere else. I prefer a 4-sided ring. That's just what I've always wrestled in and trained in. But I'm always open to new, different experiences. And like I said, you just have more room to run, so you actually probably have more room to pick up speed. And I noticed that in my match last month. I just kind of had more time to really, if I'm going to do a big clothesline, it can be even bigger because I can really build up my speed. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. And also the cage match. Have you had the opportunity to wrestle in a cage
This will
before?
be my first
'Cause-
cage match. It's not. It's kind of a not your classic traditional cage match. The cage isn't like connected to the ring. It's not like onto the ring. There's gonna be a little bit of. It's almost like a cage match slash Hell in a Cell, but there's no top. So you have a little bit of room on the outsides. Then there's the cage, like on the outside of the ring. Then there's the cage, but there's no top. So it's not like I don't believe it's gonna have the stipulation of, oh, if you escape, you win. I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I don't think I call for a door to be opened and I win. I think this is more of a um, you can just win 1, 2, 3. I think it's no DQ. So it's a cage match, but is it a Hell in a Cell match or a cage match? We don't really know. We're just gonna say it's a cage match. It's my first one. Hell in a Cell cage match. Either way, first one. I'm looking forward to it. I've always wanted to wrestle these type of matches. I still haven't done a ladder match. That's one I really, really want to do. Um, I can't say though, growing up, that I was always like, I can't wait to get in that cage and get, my face raked across the fence. I can't say that that was on my bucket list. But I've always wanted to wrestle a cage match. The last time I had, a gimmick match, I left a little bit bloody. So just going in there cautious, to be completely honest, I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna stay safe. We'll take care of each other in there. But you know, uh, it's just another element that you add, that I'm looking forward to add. I've never done it before. Looking forward to trying something new. Um, Unfortunate for Tommy Davis, though. Very unfortunate for him.
I only ask because, despite how legendary a cage match is, you don't see it on the indies, which, I mean,
Mm.
realistically
Yep.
speaking, it costs money to have a cage, plus the time it takes to put everything
Yep.
up and down too. So
Yep.
uh, it's a rarity. I actually just gonna name drop him again. Car Subject to Change. Chris Zach saw his first live cage match last night for Absolute Pro, and he's been going to wrestling for ever as well. He's been attending live events for
Okay.
quite some time, and this was his
Yeah.
first live cage match. And like, I will throw out, like, I haven't seen one live in probably close to a decade, just
Wow.
because it
Wow.
just doesn't happen that often. And not that I'm traveling all across the nation, but like,
Yeah.
like a 3 hour radius, like there's not a whole
Sure.
lot of regular cage matches going on.
I can tell you that I went to a couple live wrestling shows growing up. Never really the indies. But one of my shows I went to was Hell in a Cell. 2008. I think it was John Cena wrestling. Was he wrestling Randy Orton? Or maybe there was something going on with the Nexus or something like that. I don't know. But I've never seen a live wrestling cage match on the indies ever. So I'll be watching my first indie cage match too from
From
first POV.
there you
Um,
go. Yeah.
so
'Cause, like, I've attended a couple of WWE cage matches, because sometimes,
yeah,
like, that's something they would just throw on just like randomly, like, post show. Like, I got to
yeah,
see
for the
it
fans, send them
was
home
yeah,
happy.
like Chris Benoit and JBL, when JBL was doing his King of USA thing with the US Championship. Got to see that, and it
Hmm.
was John Cena and Kane, I believe, in like Springfield, Illinois. They just brought a cage out randomly during a house show.
Oh sure,
So like,
there you
I
go.
but in terms of the indies, like, yeah, I've only seen one, and that was like 10 years ago. But it had Marcus Crane and Tracy Smothers in it, so it's a special cage match,
Oh
just
yeah,
to be able to have Tracy Smothers in a cage. But diatribes on cages in the indies aside, but yeah, I brought up Destination just because of its kind of quasi unique location and unique setup, but you've been kind of just everywhere in between. But also, throwing it out there, you've made a handful of appearances for AEW / Ring of Honor. So how did those opportunities come about?
got an email from the liaison for extra talent, which just basically means that I'm doing enough for them to pay attention to me. So very good news. It was I don't know, extra work is basically, you don't know what you're gonna do. You could go be security, you could go be a Nico Klein has been like a doctor,
Yeah.
like a medical guy. You could get a match. And just so happened that my first extra work for All Elite Wrestling and ROH, I did get a match. I got a match on ROH against the Iron Savages. I teamed with uh, Jay Marsden and Zay Harris. Um, it was a cool experience. Uh, really cool experience to first time wrestling in, like, obviously in front of that many people, and first time wrestling in like a stadium type venue. So it was cool, and in a lot of ways it was really cool. I don't want to say like it was a lot of dreams come true, because um I would say I want a contract. I don't want it to be, my dream come true is that I'd love my dream to come true by signing a contract. But it was a very cool experience. There were aspects of it that I was looking forward to for years that would be considered a dream come true. Wrestling and, for AEW, pretty much one of the top two, top three wrestling companies in the whole world. Um, that was cool. It was a bucket list moment for me. Um, got my AEW pictures taken. That was cool. I've been looking forward to that for years. Still working on getting copies of those. That way I can post them and sell them at shows and whatnot. But got uh, it's just another notch on the resume. It's cool to get some recognition for it. Good catering.
That's what Cornboy said too. That's what I talked to him however long ago it was. It's like, catering is so much better
But
everywhere.
it's
Uh,
one of those things where it's an opportunity, and the more you get seen in those situations, the more you get recognized, and you know, maybe one person likes it that's important, or maybe one person likes one aspect about you, or you it's luck. A lot of it's luck, but the more I can put myself in that type of scenario, the better, and the more likely I am to fulfill the prophecy. So, looking forward to my next opportunities for AEW, WWE, ROH, TNA. Looking forward to it. Still striving for that.
just being able to put yourself out there, I mean, is always going to be step one. And, getting the opportunity and then making the most of opportunities, even if it is security, playing a
Yeah,
doctor,
yeah.
or being a minion. You didn't cover. You got
Oh,
to be.
that's right. That's right.
You got
I
to
did
be
get to
a
be
minion too.
one of
Uh, for
Athena's
Athena,
mentions.
yeah. I
um,
think it's you and Marston for that.
that's right. That's right. One thing too about those these opportunities I get, they're cool because it's very motivating. It's a sneak peek into what I want. I'm backstage with everybody. You know, John Cena could walk by. Maybe not right now, but when he was active, I had some extra work. When he had his recent run, and he was walking around backstage, and then you go to AEW, and you might see Chris Jericho walking around backstage, Daniel Bryan, you know, The Rock, CM Punk backstage at SmackDown. Like, it's motivating. It's like, wow, I watched these guys on TV growing up. These are some of these guys. I literally do their moves, like, or I've taken variations of their moves, or I've been inspired by these guys. Like, it's cool. It's cool going there, being backstage, um, and then seeing people that are my age, or people that are the similar experience levels, or people with similar physiques or heights. Like, it makes me, sit there and think and be like, all right, I'm close. Like, this is what I really want. This lifestyle. Coming in on Fridays, and you know just having this lifestyle, and having the catering, and then going and just being backstage, and this is what I really want. And you know and am I I'm close. I'm closer than I was. It's motivating, and it's cool, and I like to, I want to do that as much as possible, so that these people see me and they're like, oh, hey, it's Eric. Or that they start to recognize me, or think I have a good look, or anything like that. I want to get in these positions more and more and more often. They're very cool. I'm very grateful for these opportunities. So,
And you can look at it like, it may not be number one, it may not be number two, second try, but you can be a Sheamus and have a whole like reel of all the times you've been security backstage, or like they really like to play that
hmm
and talk about MJF. They really like to show him being like shoved
hmm
aside by Samoa Joe. So
yep,
being able to be out there, is just
exactly.
another step in making the most of opportunities that you are given. So always I'm keeping tabs, hoping for more, because I like that. I like having the street cred. Like, that's one of my guys. Like that. Like I
Yeah.
am a day. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Probably not quite a day one, but day two guy. I was there day two for him. Um, and I'm looking forward to like seeing you. Seeing your continued ascent, and maybe we'll have I'll have you back. Oh, maybe not 2 years down the line. Maybe we'll try to bump it up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But just seeing your growth from, what is it, December of 2023, and now we're heading into 2025, and seeing where we kind of go from there, because you're wrestling in a cage this coming weekend. You're the SCW Pro Champion, and you've had a handful of appearances on Ring of Honor and on
Yeah.
television. So
I remember. I remember. I believe when we talked. I don't know if I've had I done any of that yet? Had I had any extra work yet?
I don't think so. Like,
What did you say was December 2023?
yeah,
Maybe I think I had
maybe,
done some by then.
maybe because I know
Yeah,
you've been backstage for WWE, but I don't know if you got extra work. I
I
don't know.
hadn't
I know. I
had
see.
the
Like, like my problem. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna out myself. Is I don't watch WWE or AEW regularly, and so
sure.
a lot of time when I find out like so and so's done extra work, it's via either their social media or someone else is like, "Dude,
I
I saw so and so, and here's a little clip of it."
I definitely did not have the resume I have now. The last
No,
time that I talked with you, and I remember us talking about that and how I wanted to wrestle everywhere and all over the Midwest, and I had goals of being champion, and you know, I don't know if it was one of the goals I stated, but I've the AEW match. I've been wanting that since the dark days. I've been you know wanting a match on TV or in an arena for my whole life, and I've done those things. So uh, it is motivating, even just talking with you, because it feels like we're talking about that. It's just circling back around. Um, it's very cool. I appreciate you.
as said, like big fan of the work, and like we joked before we went on air, just like, oh, time means nothing because we see each other. I don't say the professional aspect because I'm fan behind the barricade 99.9% of the time, but like I go to anywhere from 50% to 100% of SCW shows,
Yep.
and Eric's at almost all of them, as are most of the crew, and SCW fan through and through as well. That's where I throw way too okay. It's not way too much money. It's not that much money overall, but I'm spending more than just tickets for SCW Pro. Said it on the podcast hundreds of times. The clips come up, you'll see the little like ring up in the corner that pops up in SCW Pro commercials that pop up. But yeah, no, like not try. It's not about me tooting my own horn. But no, it's been great like seeing your ascent, and hopefully this is not the end of it, and another 18 months down the road we can have another update. But kind of winding that chunk down, like where are we going to see you in the near future? Where are you wrestling at in the upcoming weeks?
Then Saturday, I wrestle Tommy Davis in a rematch in a cage match, my first ever cage match, and Destination 6 in Macomb, Illinois. That's this Saturday. Um, then I took notes because I always forget to plug myself too. So, and then I've got the 26th of October I have open. So that's open for bookings if there's any booking inquiries. But then I'll have SCW November 2nd. We're going to go back to the Bluegrass Community Center. That'll be November 2nd. And then November 16th, we're back in Iowa City, SCW Pro. And then I do have availability, limited availability for the rest of the year for open dates for bookings. But then I finish out the year with SCW December 6th in Bluegrass, Iowa. That's kind of what I got lined up for the next couple weeks. Like I said, I do have a little bit of open availability for promoters, booking inquiries, but that's what I got coming up show wise.
And where can we hit you up on social media?
Social media, Instagram, at Eric Eznite, EricEznite. X, I'm also at Eric Eznite, same spelling. Facebook, Eric Eznite. Just Eric space Eznite for Facebook. And then YouTube, one of my very important platforms, Eric Eznite Pro Wrestling. I do post my matches on there for the companies that do allow me to post footage of their shows on there. Yes, sir. That's my social medias. As far as merchandise goes, do still have the chosen merchandise available. This is the white. It's $25. I am not going to be reprinting those, so this is the last run of the white chosen shirts. So get them while you can. Running low on the sizes there. I also have my fitness and nutrition shirts. Those are also 25. I don't know. I think I have most of the sizes available in that one. And then we got the classic, most people's favorite, Eric Eznite Epiphany with the knee. This one's 25 as well. This one I'm running really, really low on. I have a lot of sizes gone, so hit me up on that one. Rob knows that you can use my website, ericeznite.com. If you're gonna do that, go ahead and message me on like one of my socials first, and just ask me, hey, do you have this size? I haven't updated my website with my inventory, just because I'm about to be out already. So if you do want to use my website, ericeznite.com, you can do that. Just message me first on socials. Hey, you have a small, you have a large in the black or whatever. Um, that way, I'm not just having to refund you back the money. Because I don't have it. Um, or you can just message me on socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, um, and you can just say, hey, I'll send you it on Venmo or Cash App or PayPal. Um, or you can meet me at one of these wrestling shows. Pay me cash then, pay me Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. But I am running low with $25 shirts, Eric Eznite merch.
All right. Well, Eric, thank you for coming back on. It's always been a pleasure, and it's been great seeing your continued ascent within the prophecy being
That's right.
chosen. And, you know, hopefully the future is so bright we all got to wear shades to see it.
That's right. I hope so, man. That's the goal.
MLW Confusion is a weekly podcast that is written and performed by Rob Kammer and hosted by Spotify for podcasters. MLW Confusion is part of the Urban Wrestling Network, and you can check them out and check out the Major League Pod on YouTube at Urban Wrestling NW. The background music for this section is Ruined by Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is also helpful. Word of mouth of advertisement is very important for small podcasts such as this. Social media links can be found in the description, but Twitter and Instagram are at the Nova of Cass, TheNovaofCass, and Facebook is at MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, please check out my virtual chip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova. Or if you prefer more bang for your buck, you can go to patreon.com/Casanova, CASSONOVA, where for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, Alex McCarthy, and Elenia, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast on Teespring. Also, be sure to check out the description to find some affiliate links for, well, WWE merch, coffee machines, ice makers, and much more. For business inquiries such as ads and sponsorships, please email rzkammer, that's Kamerer, at comcast.net. Thank you for listening.